Jerry, there was some good news for Cowboys fans yesterday. DeMarcus Ware named a finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. How excited were you to see that? And when you guys turned in his draft card in 2005, did you ever anticipate he'd become the player that he did?
You know, really, it was one of our more memorable times. And the answer is yes, we had been looking for years for someone that might come along and have some of the uniqueness of Charles Haley, if you will, but have the athletic ability that DeMarcus has was something we just had never seen. Well, the day of the draft, Bill Parcells had gotten real excited about Spears. We were trying to go to the 3-4 away from the 4-3 defense, 3-4 being three down linemen and outside linebacker types that did your rushing. But you couldn't get there in a year, and that bothered Bill. Well, Spears fit perfectly. He could go either way. And we had 2 number 1 picks. Well, we had decided, and I for sure had decided, that we were going to take Ware. Well, Bill, of course, was really at odds with that, and I just had convinced myself Ware would never be there if we waited until our 21st pick. We had the 11th and 21st pick. So we had quite a foray before the draft, and I turned his card in, and Bill was sitting right beside me and wouldn't say anything to me, and pouting, if you will. Now, you can imagine how that might go. Well, he's writing, and he writes out a contract, and it basically says that if Ware does not average 10 sacks a year for the first 2 years in the NFL, then he got 5 trips a year on my G5 jet airplane with his significant other, if Ware didn't. And, boy, he had it all fixed up beautifully and had signature lines on it, and he slipped it over to me. And, of course, Bill was just trying to break the ice because we had disagreed there on the pick. And so I added an addendum. I said, I so agreed to the above he can have if he doesn't make. But should player make over 10 sacks a year, the airplane will go. Jerry Jones will be on it rather than Bill, with Bill's significant other. And I put a signature line under that. We still have that contract, and it's one of the highlights of my time. But we moved into Ware and gotten to Bill real quick. But Bill, I want to be clear, Bill's one of the greatest experiences and joys and positive experience I had have had in my time in football. So it was just another day in our relationship.
Well, and while there's a lot of excitement about DeMarcus Ware, there was some disappointment about Darren Woodson failing to make the cut. Do you think Darren Woodson is one of the Hall of Fame's bigger oversights at the moment?
Yeah, very much about Darren. Darren's just, in my mind, has to be in the Hall of Fame. Now, that doesn't get you anywhere because Jerry Jones said he has to be. But he's everything when we think of an impact player and think of someone that represents what we would like for the world to see and think and evaluate when they see a name in the Hall of Fame. His background coming to the NFL, his time in the NFL, his leadership ability, what he was as a player, which is the big criteria, all of that, Darren Woodson needs in the Hall of Fame.
Jerry, do you feel that this is a team that may be your best shot at a world title since those mid-'90s teams?
Well, I'm reluctant just because I don't want to jinx it as much as anything. But I like the way that we have evolved relative to what's happened to us injury-wise, availability-wise. We've had early some real unavailable top players because of injury. And that's caused us to get depth now, or get a lot of young players ready to play. And our alternative to young would be a free agent type player that might not have played as much. Well, boy, those guys have gotten all kinds of snaps, and it goes throughout the roster, completely throughout the roster. And consequently, we've got sitting here with our now some of those top players that at least we thought they were going to be top players when we came out of training camp. They've become available. They're out there. They're in shape. They're ready to play. They're playing. And plus, we've got that depth behind them. And so I'm hoping that that's going to be a real advantage for us. As you know, boy, it is so dicey to talk about what happens in the playoffs because we don't have multi-game playoffs. It's all decided in one afternoon or one night, and that's what you've got. So you can have a good team and not get there. I've been fortunate to be involved with three teams, I think, that certainly could have gone all the way over the last 25 years and not gone all the way, any one of them, that would have changed the picture around here a lot. But that's part of what we sign up for. That's the NFL. That's football.
Yeah, and I know anybody that's around the team and close to them and covering them knows how badly you want to win. I know you don't want to jinx it, but does it make you feel, especially with having those recent teams like back in 14 and 16, like restless at all, knowing that, you know, how fleeting it can be, especially when you got a group as talented as this one?
Well, the last sentence you said there, I think it's well recognized that our talent level is recognized, and that's really important because right with ability, maybe every bit is equal to ability, is availability. So if our talent is available and our talent is ready to play, I have had current reps going all the way through, whether it's Zeke or whether it's Dak or whoever it is. If that talent's ready to go and we're getting into the playoffs, then that bodes well because this is what you've got when you get there and what you got when you get there in your first quarter, your first half, as you get into the playoffs. And so I don't want to be redundant, but the most encouraging thing about our situation is our talent availability as we sit here today.